Okay, guys. Sorry we're 3 minutes late. I needed time to take a few breaths.
That was a good time for our breath.
So it just looks like the internet here is a touch slow, but we'll keep following. If not, I can wing it. Okay, so while the computer is deciding to turn on, let me see. There are a few faces hello, Claudia. A couple of faces I don't recognize. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Irene. You probably know that already. This is my 28th year in real estate, and we work out of the Keller Williams Portfolio Office at Lawrence & Young right now, after having worked here for 5 years. My husband joined me in real estate 14 years ago. We have a small team, a small productive team. We have one agent, one licensed admin, and one unlicensed admin. And we generally do about $60 million worth of volume every year. Last year we took a little bit of a dip, I think, like everybody did, plus we opened up a new market center. But this year we'll be back on track. So I'd like to think I kind of know what I'm doing, you know? You're still learning after all this time. And it's already warm in here, is it warm?
Yes. I'm going to turn down the heater.
Oh, that would be good. But you know what, this is great.
I think especially the front seems to be the hot spot.
We were having our team meeting. My team works out of my house, and we had our team meeting a couple of Mondays ago. And I'm down there in a tank top, and the girls are wrapped up in shawls, and this is like 8:30 Monday morning. And they said to me, "Aren't you cold?" I said, "No, I'm 51."
They kind of thought that.
Anyway, so that's us. My husband is pretty much running the market center now, and I'm still running the team, and we have sort of a nice division of labor. And I haven't always been organized. I get asked that a lot. It takes practice. Anybody can do it. Not everybody will, just like everything else. And I have some tips and tricks. I'll share some of my charts for you. But what I always say, like David actually just mentioned at the beginning before you guys got here, is you got to know what you're doing this for. Otherwise, none of the charts and none of the hints and none of the suggestions are going to work. Because if you don't have something in you that's making you want to do this, it's not going to happen for you, no matter how many charts you have in front of you. I don't bring any handouts because I don't really want you guys to get stuck in what I give you. I will email Aresta all of my charts afterwards, and well, I don't know when I'll email them to you, when we recover our data. Yeah, that was my email, that was my email. Our entire hard drive has been compromised.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I get those charts back up and running, I will send them to you. But the point is, it doesn't matter what you have and what you use. You have to make it work for you. So if you just want to work on a piece of paper, you know, I don't know, maybe that'll work for you as well. But it's really not the thing. It's your mindset and how you approach what it is that you want to do that will help you get more organized and stay on task. So David's already told me he's had lots of questions, but I do always like to start with some questions to you guys, just to figure out what are your biggest challenges, what would you like to hear about most, and what can we do in the next hour, 55 minutes, to help you best. You already said you had questions, Dave.
So my thing is, the thing that I've been hearing repetitively for the last 2 weeks is that just because you've got colors on the calendar doesn't mean those colors necessarily correlate to something. So in terms of prioritizing your day and figuring out where to start and that type of thing, I realize it's personal and not everyone does it the same way. But can you give us an example of going through your day where like is it client emails, is it all the searches, is it web development? Like, do you have a schedule every day that's somewhat consistent?
Mm-hmm. Okay. But might not be the same as yours.
No, I get it, but...
Okay.
And my question is along the same line. Oh, sorry, were you done?
Yeah.
My question was along the same line as I want to have a feeling of having more tips on that. So it's more of a feeling like my schedule isn't running me, but I'm running my schedule.
And what do you feel right now doesn't allow you to do that?
Just wanting to very much the clients first and responding to whatever I need to do work-wise, that all the secret papers runs away. And, yeah.
Distractions?
No, not distractions.
Prioritize.
Fires?
Sometimes, I guess. But for the most part, just getting that balance back.
Okay. Okay.
I find things always take me probably 3 times longer than I think they're gonna take, so it backs up my whole schedule. So I'd like a little advice on how much space you leave between your stuff for overflow.
Did you read John Maxwell's 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth? It's a great book. Really, really great book. I just finished it. I love John Maxwell. I read a lot of his stuff.
What was the title again?
15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. He says very specifically, everything that you want to do, double the time.
I try tripling in my schedule, so I'm like,
Okay. Underestimated.
yeah, and then it just backs everything up.
So give me an example of that.
I think a listing presentation is going to take me an hour to put together, and 3 hours later, I'm still fixing it. And then I haven't done what was scheduled next.
Okay. Anybody else? Dave, you said you had a whole slew of questions.
Kind of spin off the first one. So in terms of your time blocking and your time management, do you have a one thing every day that you nail down and identify?
Yeah, lead gen.
That
That is my
Every day.
biggest thing every single day. Yeah. And it's the thing that we all give away first, right? Because closing presentations and all the charts and all the flyers and all that are much more fun to do.
Now, I know you like door knocking, but lead gen is different in a whole bunch of ways, whether it be your circle of influence or your Fab Five, whatever is it always door knocking for you?
No. It's doors and phone. So, so your question is there a one thing? Is that what you're?
So I got a bit of a man crush on Jeff Woods at Family Reunion. The guy blew me out of the water with the whole one thing planner and the one thing book and everything else, and I'm just kind of riding the momentum of that still. So just identifying in terms of time management and planning your day, if his big thing is that one priority.
And have you figured out what your priority is?
Well, I can tell you what priority is for March, but in terms of getting past March, it's like right now it's getting that database and the CRM working for me instead of me trying to figure out how to make it work. So, right, because I've not developed that system yet. So for March, that's my priority. So every day, 4 hours a day is scheduled to just making sure that my touches are there, my systems are in place, my clients are up to date, I've got an address for everybody. Doing all of that to get April 1st, I've got something to ride with. So it's easy to figure out now, and then you've got time blocking and lead management and or lead generation and all of those things that follow. But in terms of you can't have, your one thing every day is lead generation, but you've got a team helping with other aspects of your business. So from when you were a single agent to where you are now, your one thing, I'm assuming, changed at some point throughout the week, some point throughout the day?
Sure. Yeah, depending on the different roles. But this question stems from your first question, which is how to prioritize.
Right.
Right? So I think probably a lot of your other questions will all go back to the prioritization. And that's actually one of the most important points of this is you have to figure out what's most important in your year, in your month, in your week, and in your day. Because if you don't know that, everything else will kind of take over, and you do have things and people running your schedule. Whereas if you have something that you're focused on and you know that's your highest priority, whatever it is for you, then if you keep that as a priority, everything else should, in theory, stem from that. Okay, so the golden rules of time blocking for me, totally manufactured by me. This is my made up stuff.
Original.
Original, yes, yeah. The plan your life and live your plan idea, I think everybody knows if you don't have a plan, somebody else will always put their plan in place for you, right? So we always start with the idea of life and then have the business work into it, because otherwise what are you doing all this for? Right? So the cliche plan your working plan doesn't actually take into account your life. That's why you want to sort of start with that first and focus on what's most important to you. Nothing is random. If you do want it to happen, you have to make it happen. Otherwise, the universe and other people will always impose all of their stuff on you. So you've got to focus on what is it that's important for you. We're all really good at running around and making excuses about how busy we are, but in the end, if you're busy doing stuff that doesn't make any difference, then it's not good being busy. You don't want to be busy for busyness' sake. And I think that's really easy to do. So whether putting together a listing presentation is really important. But if it's getting to the point where it's taking 3 times as long, what else were you supposed to do? Right? What else did you have to do that it's taking time away from? So I say if I put it into my schedule, I'm more likely to do it. I don't know, David, you're saying that maybe even if it's in your schedule, you're not doing it? Is that what you're finding?
I guess it's the balance of, if it's blocked, it's locked, and then you get a client call saying, hey, I've got a window between 10 and 11. Right, if I got a window between 10 and 11, can we go look at this property? And I know I'm blocked for whatever, CRM work,
Okay.
from 9 to 1. Do I not show the property? That's kind of like the top priority of my job, right? You've got to show the properties in order to get the paper written and everything else. So I kind of, like today was shifted. I had showings at 9 and I got here at 10:30, so now it's 10:30 to 2 type of thing. So I get the day shifts. How flexible should I be? Like clients, I think, are kind of important, right?
They are.
Yeah.
So with somebody like this that's just calling you and telling you that they have a window, it's going to be a little bit tougher to go back and sort of help them understand what your schedule is, right? Going forward,
Yeah.
if you have that ability to say, okay, so I do my appointments at a specific time, and other times I have, for other things that I need to do, and they don't need to know that, like you can say you have another appointment. It might be an appointment with you.
Yeah.
Right? My question for the database though, is 4 hours a day, every day realistic for you to sit down and do that?
It has been for the past 8-9 days, but I've got a ton of work to do on my database. So that's my top priority for this year, is to get that system in place so it's bulletproof.
Well, it's important.
Right.
Yeah, it is important.
But these particular clients, as an example, have their schedules all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to put a window in place where I show them, it likely wouldn't work on Monday, but it might work on Tuesday.
Right. So for something like that, I mean, you just said, so I took them out and I came here and I started, so I'm starting later. But that's the, if you erase, you must replace, right? So if you did that in the morning and you got that business out of the way and you're still here doing, doing your thing, you've shifted it down a little bit. Is that a big deal?
No, I don't think, not to me, I don't think so, but I'm here learning.
I think the idea is you want to create a schedule that works for you. You already have the knowledge of if you have to change something, you have to put it into another time slot. So I don't think we can be so married to our schedule that we have to do the same thing every single time, all the time. The only exception for me right now is I'm helping Philip with sort of recruiting light. I'm not doing recruiting, but I'm helping him with a little bit of that follow-up. So I do that from 9 to 10 every single morning, because I find that's when I can get agents. Throughout the day, it's a lot harder, right? So something like that, I mean, you don't have to think about something that's specific. But so talking about lead gen, I know we're not quite following the schedule, that's okay. So you ask, when do I door knock? I will door knock sort of 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 5:30 to 6:30. I'm on the phone in the mornings. So that's when I do my sphere, my follow-up, and all of that stuff. So I do have that time block, but so Monday night, it was like minus 50 with the wind, right? I'm not going out door knocking.
Yeah.
Right, so I have to put that in another day. I have it on my schedule for today, we'll see. You're kind of at the mercy of the weather in Toronto in the winter, right? But if there's a difference between shifting things around a little bit and not making time in your schedule for them, right? So if you have something in your calendar and there's something, and then it's going back to the prioritizing. So if something comes in front of you, like Lisa, you said, so I have this, so clients are pulling me in different directions. We all have the tendency when the phone rings to jump. And that's not the best way to go about it. And there's very few things that you have to do right away. Like, there's very few things. So if you pick up the phone and there's something going on, you can say, well, first of all, if you're lead generating, you shouldn't be picking up the phone. But if something comes across your desk and it's something that you think is important, you really need to figure out, is it important and urgent, or is important and not urgent? Everybody read Stephen Covey? Who's read Stephen Covey? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Yeah. So he's got a quadrant. And this is really great. Hopefully the rest of you can take this off at some point. So it's important, urgent, not important, not urgent. So you might have some things that are important but not urgent. Okay, I messed this up, I'm sorry. So if it's important and not urgent, it means you have to do it, but you don't have to do it right now. If it's important and urgent, you have to do it, and you have to do it, if not right now, then pretty soon. So I think that's the important distinction, is to figure out if something is really urgent or not, because we put an urgency on just about everything, and that's not the right thing to do. Right? You really have to figure out where in your, is it even a today thing? Sometimes it's not even a today thing. I'll show you my daily priorities, because on Fridays, I have a big chunk of time that I dedicate just to doing the listing presentations and the charts and doing all that stuff, and I do all of that on Friday afternoon with a time block. So if I get an idea, I'll just write it down to do it on that day, rather than what we tend to do, and what I used to do, is just kind of, move on to this. Oh, this is a good idea. So you stop what you're doing and you go on working on something else, and you have a lot of unfinished projects that keep perpetuating themselves and not being finished. So that whole, when it's blocked, it's locked, your lead generation time should be blocked. Whatever time works for you. For me, it's first thing in the morning. And every couple of weeks, I will throw in an evening call time to get the people that I don't get during the day. Right? So for me, it's about 9 to 11 almost every single morning. And the door knocking I do in the afternoon. And when something that's that important for you and for all of us, it should be lead generating, because if you're not lead generating, there's no business. So something like that, you really do need to keep on the forefront and make sure that you avoid interruptions as much as humanly possible. Don't have your emails open unless you're sending an email to somebody. Right? But if you are going to put something in because it is urgent, we've got to replace that. You've got to replace it. So if you erase, you must replace. So if you are taking that off your calendar, make sure to put it somewhere else. Little successes lead to bigger successes. It's kind of hard to keep going when you're not getting any results. You can, whether it's lead generating or whatever else, or getting your schedule under your belt. once you start getting some success, whether it's booking an appointment or you get something together and it really works out, it will put you in a better frame of mind to keep going and do more of that. So just remember to, I mean, it's having the tenacity to keep going, really, whatever it is that you're doing. And it'll build momentum for you to keep pushing you further along. So the benefits of planning, working with a purpose, becoming more focused and organized, and looking, and this is sort of dovetailing to what I had just mentioned, looking back at successes and feeling a sense of accomplishment. Because when you do feel like you did something well, it's easier to keep going, right? Figuring out your big why. What are you doing all of this for? Because you can't create a schedule for yourself if you don't know what it is that's most important to you. And that's sometimes hard to find. You know, some people kind of search, like, what is my big why? What are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? What's it going to look like when you get there? Who's done any of the big why training? Does anybody have their own why that's kind of big enough to keep going? Anybody? Any ideas? Aresta?
No.
I want to, basically my big why is my kids and teaching my kids how to live. Being an example in work as well as in life to them. So like I scheduled all our family trips ahead of time. I'm trying to do the best that I can at work ahead of time. Because that gives me the, okay, I'm leaving soon. Let's get this done. That's my big why.
And what are you doing in business to help you get there?
Lead gen.
Yeah.
9 to 11.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Keep that up. Cool. Dave?
My wife's retiring in 5 years.
Ah. So when she retires, what are you going to do?
Apparently work twice as hard.
What's right?
Apparently work twice as hard. Or twice as smart.
Yes.
That's smart. Yeah. So what does her retiring require you to do?
Well, offset the income that we're apparently not going to be getting.
Okay.
Other than that, don't know. I mean, she'll be home for the kids more, the house more, the dog more, all of that stuff will be taken care of. So it's my job to start producing and earning my keep.
Cool. Very nice. Anybody else? No? I'll send you our March calendar when I've recreated it, because I have to do it from scratch today. We have Claire Barrett from, I can't remember if she's Hamilton or Burlington. She's coming in on the 28th of March and she's doing a session on the Big Y. Yeah.
Did you get that, everyone? Did you get that?
Yeah.
28th of March.
28th. 28th, Thursday, March 28th at 1:30 p.m. Just because you, or if you don't have one, doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Lots of people can't sort of figure out what their focus is. And it's really, really important because if you don't have something driving you, it's really hard to get up in the morning to do this stuff. You really have to have something that's just keeping a fire under you. Because this business is tough, you know, especially the last couple of years. Right? It's tough to keep going unless you really have something that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning. That's actually, John Maxwell has a big piece on that in the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Highly recommend it. So when I started doing this class, it was before the one thing was out. So the whole multitasking, everybody was still multitasking and doing all kinds of stuff. I said it's a myth. If you give something 100% of your focus, you will be more efficient and do it better. And that's the whole premise. Who else has read The One Thing? Okay, you guys have to read The One Thing. You really do, because it really helps you understand how to figure out what's important in your life and certainly prioritize it. It's not real estate based. It's just how do you do better, be better, and live better. So I would highly recommend it. And again, looking back and feeling a sense of accomplishment, being productive is good, taking time off to recharge is good too. Checklist with items marked done can be rewarding, So it's always helpful, but if all of those things that you're just checking off are, for example, admin things that aren't pushing your business forward, it's going to be short-lived, because what you need to be doing is working on your business to help it be better. Okay, so life plan. Who's done the business planning clinic here besides Lizette? You guys? You've done it. You were with us. Okay. So the next time there's a business planning clinic, they're typically October, November, December. Make sure you go, because while it's called a business planning clinic, it's really just a roadmap for your year and sometimes 3 to 5 years as well. So make sure you attend that, because you do need to start with the whole year. I'll show you that in a second. So we always, like Aresta, we start by planning our vacations first. So we always put those on the calendar. And this year more than ever, I have more vacations put in, because that's what I want to do. That's kind of my big why, right? That's one of my big whys, is to do more travel with the kids and give them more experiences. And I have a couple of other ones that are sort of pretty big lately, and it makes the time in between easier to get through, right? If you have a vacation to plan for, right? And what do they say? If you want to get busy in real estate, you plan a vacation, right? And you know why that is? Because you become so purposeful. You know, next Saturday, or 2 days from now, or tomorrow, you're leaving, and you've got this to-do list, and anything that's not critical, you're not doing. So if you take that feeling and you bring it into the rest of your life, just keep thinking you're going on vacation. If it's a month, 2 months, or whatever, you figure you got to do that before, you got to get all this done before you go on holiday. So has anybody else done that? Become a little bit more busy and more productive?
I've been happier.
Happier?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Who's not happy going on vacation, right?
My challenge is always when I come back, getting back into the groove quickly. Like
Yeah.
a whole week will go by and I'm still in vacation mode. My vacation was supposed to be 1 week, is now been 2 weeks because I'm home, but I'm not like back in it.
It's always a challenge. Yeah. I just find if I focus on the stuff that's absolutely critical, I have learned to just let other things fall off the bottom of my list, because I cannot do absolutely everything. Even me, I cannot do everything. I'm just agree with that. I'm only human. And you know what? Sometimes we have things on our list that maybe they can be done by somebody else. Now you're a single agent, you don't have an assistant. Maybe you could farm it out to somebody, maybe a virtual assistant or somebody part-time. If you're just starting out, then obviously you need to look for other alternatives. But you guys are on a team; you have the admin support, right? I'm a big list maker. Big surprise. And I find sometimes I keep looking at the list, going, oh my God, there's just things that are on it and on it and on it, and they don't get done. But sometimes they don't actually need to be done. You know. And that's the tough part, is figuring out exactly A, what needs to be done, and B, who needs to do it. Do you need to do it? Or can it be farmed out? That's when you go into leverage, and maybe at some point pretty soon you're going to get to that point, Dave. Aren't you?
Fingers crossed.
Was that?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So annual schedule, and then we break it down into monthly 411s. Who uses a 411? Who doesn't know what a 411 is? 411 is a monthly planning tool. There are 4 weeks, 1 month, and 1 year. It's all in one sheet. We'll get to it in a little bit. And it helps you figure out, okay, what are your goals for the year? What are your goals for this month? And then what are you going to do every week to get there? And I find that really keeps me on track, because if you have it all in front of you, whether it's on paper or the online version, if you have it in front of you, you're less likely to move on to something else if what you have written down here hasn't been finished. Not guaranteed, but you're less likely to do it. And then the weekly color-coded chart, lots of colors, was done before we had the Google Calendar, so I did it on Excel. I'll actually show it to you. It's pretty funny. It's very colorful. And when I first started to do it, I was a little overwhelmed, but then I followed my colors. I don't do colors anymore. Right now, I just put my activities in. because we have colors for everybody on the team. So if I had colors for me, it would be all over the place. But I found that just focusing on that, so this is family time, so yellow for me was family time. Actually, I'll show it to you. It's a little overwhelming when you first look at it, but it's kind of cool. So this was it. Maybe? Very slow internet. So you can sort of see, there. The red was the lead gen and the work time. The purple was the admin. Green was my time. You see over there, there's not a lot of it. And yellow was family time. Sorry guys, I think there's just oh, there we go. Look at that.
What's your time, Irene?
I'm sorry?
What's your time? What is the?
It was the
cup?
green. It was.
It's not that much.
No, and it's changed a little bit from this. So again, like don't commit this to memory. Just get the essence of it.
But
Right.
a lot of family time, which is good too.
A lot of family time, yeah, and it's changed a little bit because that was when that was before I was door knocking in the sort of earlier. So again, just get the idea of it. And yeah, I didn't always follow this, but if I went back and I looked at it, there's that dissonance, right? I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know what I'm really doing. So if you have sort of ingrained in your head what you really should be doing, and then you look at what you are doing, and they don't match, your brain will do something, should do something to help you match what you want to do with what you're really doing. So what this helped me do was really focus on just what do I need to be doing right now. So without making you guys crazy and having you color coordinate your life, figure out when do you want to do things. I wake up at 5 o'clock and I work out at 6 o'clock. There's non-negotiable for me. I do not work out. Like I cannot not work out. I go crazy. So for me, that's really important. Like I don't even have it on my calendar anymore much because I just know that that's what I do. So for me, what this helped do was just get me into the habit of doing the same things at the same time. Because once it takes a while to build a good habit, but once you build it, it's there. It's like brushing your teeth. You never leave the house without brushing your teeth, right? So it's the same kind of thing, unless you're a 13-year-old boy. Does not like to brush his teeth. Does anybody else have a 13-year-old? No, I'm the only one. Okay, so let's get back to this. Oh. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Figuring this out, okay. So that was weekly. There we go. And then daily, as much as we want to be technologically driven, and I want to be tech savvy, paper for me still is very important. And I brought, so what I said was I didn't bring you handouts, but I'll pass these around just so you guys could have a sense of it. And again, if you don't want paper, don't use paper. But if you don't want to be technology based, don't scrap your paper just because people tell you that you have to be technologically based. What's your name?
Mahinton.
Mahinton?
Yes.
Okay, so you have an iPad. Do you use it a lot?
Nothing.
Okay, so if you got that and it works for you, whatever it is. I still carry this old school thing around all the time, and I've got, my priority sheets and things in it, and that's what works for me, because if I have an idea, I like to write it down. And for me, paper works, but it also keeps me in today, right? Because that's important too. You can't change what happened yesterday, can't control what happens tomorrow, but you can be in control of your day to day. And if somebody's trying to take control of it from you, Lisa, you can figure out, what's important and have, before responding to somebody, you could have that conversation based on what it is that you need to achieve. You have to weigh it. Like if it's an offer and it's a time-sensitive thing, you're going to put priority on that over, putting together a listing presentation or something. But it's all like everybody's priorities are going to be different to a point. right? Your kid is, you know, fell at school, and you can't say, well, I'm lead generating, I can't leave. Come on, right? So there's got to be like your business has to factor in your life, right? So, you know, again, starting with our family time, we plan our holidays first. For us, we do a lot of conferences, so we're always going to family reunion, we're always going to mega camp. I do the luxury retreat for Keller Williams every spring. This year, I want to do another retreat for the Luxury Home Marketing Institute, which is in November. So all of that goes into the calendar at the beginning of the year. We do our planning sort of November, so that we have a really clear picture of what the following year is going to look like. And there we go. You got another kind of idea. Don't get overwhelmed. So the red is the work time. The yellow is holiday time. The green is our conferences. This was last year. And the purple is admin. So whenever we have sort of a couple of days or a day that we need to do things. So December, you see there's lots of yellow here. From December 1st to December 26th, I do not lead generate. It's like my time. I don't call, I don't door knock. It's my time to either just hang out and do nothing, which doesn't happen very often, or, you know, visiting clients, visiting friends. So it's like I look, don't think that I live to lead generate. Like I'm not one of these people that, or I don't know if anybody is one of these people that actually just lives to lead generate. No, I know it's important for me in our business. So when I look at this, I go, oh cool, like 3 weeks of not lead generating. It's very exciting. So I look at this chart. I have this in hard copy, and I look at it regularly because the yellow is the time off, the proposed time off, and then every month I sit down and I reconcile my schedule and I figure out how much time off did I really take, because that's my downfall, because I don't take enough me time. So that's also a goal for me, is just to make sure that I take a couple of days off every month and not just wait for the holidays. Because I have a tendency to just work, and we can't do that, especially as we get older. So I do look at this regularly, and I have this is days worked proposed, and it's what I do at in December. Like I'll typically do that sometime around that December time. And then I have a day's worked actual. So when I sit down and say, okay, I really did have that time off, or hey, I took a day off here, you know, that's always exciting for me. And then at the end of December, I always have a call marathon from around the 27th of December to the 30th or the 31st. And it's when I sit on the phone for 6 to 8 hours a day.
Call marathon, you call it.
What's that?
That is a call marathon.
It is a call marathon. I actually have it in my calendar, call marathon. It's when I do my follow-ups, so it's all of the nurturers, the people that said they might do something next year, I might do something in the spring, I might do something in the summer, so I call almost all of them. The list is getting pretty long, so I sometimes can't get through it in 4 days. Because I usually do anywhere from 300 to 400 calls in that time. And that's usually about 100 to 150 contacts, depending. So it's my goal to doing that is to set appointments for January. That's what I'm looking to do. So I know you said you're thinking of doing something in the spring. How about we get together in January and see where you're at, see what the market's doing, and see if there's something that we can work with. Yeah, that takes commitment. And a big note on the door to the kids. Mommy's on the phone. The other thing, I think this is really important, when you're figuring out professional training. So that's the other thing that's critical for you to have a good basis of knowledge of yourself for. What is it, where is it that your skills are lacking? Where are the gaps? What do you need to find for training? Are you more listing focused? Are you more buyer focused? What's coming up that you really need to hear, be at, experience to help your business? That's also the time that we do our business goals, our gross commission volume, number of units. It's when we do sort of the actual business plan, like the numbers part of our year. questions so far?
So I mean, this, we can get this through the Keller Williams?
No, you can get
No.
them through me
Through you.
when I get my data back.
Okay.
Well, when I recreate my data.
Mhm.
Yeah. So soon, a week. Okay, so monthly, we like to plan one project at a time. So this is, let me see if I can get a better 411 for you. So, sorry, I had a few hands. Who uses a 411? Okay, Catherine, tell me, what do you like about it?
It keeps me on track. My goal for the year is just there, and then how I get to there per month, per week. I'm just starting out now. I've done the weekly, and that needs to be broken down. So I just saw your daily things, and I think
Mhm.
that's another step that I'd like it sort of embedded in my weekly.
Okay.
And so this is a way to keep me on track. And then I've been trying to be really honest with myself, and what I didn't do is to move it on to next week. Or,
Okay.
yeah, because things do get in the way, or,
That's one of the things that I just so love about the 411. So, but that's critical, Catherine. So you can get this online through my KW. There's an online version. Again, I like mine printed because I like to make scribbles and notes, and I will eventually put everything online, but like every month. But I like to make notes. So you've got your annual goals up here, and it can be as many as you want. Personal goals, I think that's really, really important for me. Last year I did my broker course, and another goal for me is to do the linked selling linked university course. So it's on this 411 for me every single month. So every single month that I don't do it, I know that I haven't done it. So that's going back to me. If you have it in front of you, Claudia, you want to focus on it. And every month that I don't get to it, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to figure out where to do it. But again, that's not a critical thing. That's something that I want to do, and something that I think will eventually help our business. But it's not so critical that it has to take precedence over other things. So that's when you get into that prioritizing and where do you put it into your totem pole, right? So monthly goals, that is determined what happened the month before. For us, we have a monthly deals goal as well, so it's in front of me. Like I have this 411 on my desk all the time, so I'm always looking at it. I don't wait until the end of the month.
Take a picture of it.
What's that?
Can I take a picture of it?
You're welcome to. Why don't I give you this? Oh, no, I can't give you this either. I'm gonna, hey James, I'm gonna send everything to Arista. You can, but you're not gonna get the whole thing,
No.
right? So I will send everything to Arista, I promise. So then the monthly goals, we have a section for our team. So when I put this together, I have split up for the team what they're gonna be doing. And then they each have their own 411. So they take these goals for the team, they take their own goals, so that everybody has a roadmap to what they're doing. And then you've got this fancy dancy weekly thing down here, where you want to put, now for me, I don't have my number of contacts or number of hours to lead gen on my 411 because I don't need it, because that's ingrained in me. But for somebody that's starting out, or somebody that really needs help focusing on their lead gen, I think that's really important. So I've got my 100 contacts a week, talk to my sphere, however many, 10 hours of lead gen, whatever it is that's important for you, put it in every week so that it's in front of you. So if you're not doing it, your brain feels bad and it's going to make you do it. And the other thing that Catherine was mentioning, so when you have something in this week and the next week starts, you haven't finished it, don't go on to something else until you finish that first thing. And that's such a critical piece too, because we have such a tendency just to jump around. And it's human nature. And I think for us especially, we're not built to be focused, right? Realtors are just not focused unless they work at it. And anybody can do it. Anybody can teach themselves to be focused. But that's a really great way to keep on track is, Fridays go, okay, what did I get accomplished this week? Was there something I didn't finish, right?
and if you didn't finish it, move it on to the next week, rather than having it fall off the list. Lizanne, what do you do for your 411?
What do I do? for my
Yeah,
411?
how does it keep you on top of what you need to do?
I changed mine a while back to do 12-week planning, so I do 3 months at a time, because I just found it easier. Otherwise, every month was just something different. And then I take that and I put it into a month and a week. Mine looks slightly different. And then I just have a daily calendar that I use. So it's the same type of thing.
Yeah, same idea, you know, and again, it does not matter what you use, what chart, what system, whatever, as long as you create it to have it work for you and then follow it. Because that's, you know, one of the things that I hear a lot in this class from the very beginning is, well, I have everything organized, but then I don't do it.
But that's your big why again.
Yeah, exactly, what's driving you, right? Anybody else? Anybody else has a 411? Do you use a 411?
I do.
Are you using it the way you want it to work for you?
Again, learned a lot in New Orleans, and my 411 structure has changed.
How?
So as I was sitting in Jeff Wood's breakout session, he had said you've got your annual, you've got your monthly, and you've got your weekly. And whatever your priority is for your annual should be supported in your monthly, and then your priorities in your weekly should support your monthly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always identifying that and then figuring out how to make those goals attainable and breaking it down into smaller components so they feel like some little successes lead to big successes. So it's prioritized. I've got my 3 items for the year, and whatever it takes to get those items for the year done in the month, and then whatever it takes to get those items done in the month, I get those. So it's broken down a little bit differently than it was.
So how did you have it done? That you
Well, I had
changed?
again, still in the learning process, fortunately. But it was one of those where it was a little scattered. I had an annual goal and I had monthly goals and I had weekly goals, but they weren't necessarily tied to one another.
Oh, okay.
Right, so-
Yeah, it's all got to stem from the top, right?
Right,
It's got to stem from here.
right. So
That's got to drive everything. So this has to be something that's important to you, right? Because if it's not, then the rest, like, nothing will matter. You're not going to do it.
So that was my kind of aha moment from that session. It was, you know, the idea is to break every big task into little tasks.
How do you eat an elephant?
Yeah, exactly.
One little bit at a time.
So since I've come back, I've taken a second look at my 411, and the 411 they used in New Orleans was different,
Mhm.
which I kind of like. Instead of it being a monthly, it's now, they use it as a weekly. And it's take the 20% of your business that's creating 80% of your revenue,
Mhm.
and then whatever doesn't fall into that 20% goes on the back of the page. So it's kind of a urgent but not important, important not
Right.
urgent scenario. And if you have time when everything's done, turn the page over and start checking off boxes.
Right.
So it's just a different approach that I find easier for me, because I'm now looking at weekly tasks instead of monthly tasks. And
Mhm.
my biggest flaw is that I will look at the month and take the 10 easiest tasks and nail them. And
At least you admit it.
no, I'm horrible. I'm horrible. But it's now identifying the tasks that are most important and whether I want to do them or not, making sure that those get done.
Right. So the tricky part is then making sure that your weekly calendar supports your goals, so it supports your monthly goals, right? For me, okay, so I'm gonna take off everybody else's calendar for you because it's gonna be a little bit overwhelming. So this is our team calendar, so everybody knows what everybody's doing. For me, Philip's green, Bridget is red, Robin is orange, and Nicoletta is yellow. And client appointments are actually a completely different color, so we know when they stand out. So this isn't my calendar, this is everybody's calendar, so everybody knows what everybody's doing. But here, so if you see here, like the blue, that's my lead gen time.
So I still have my workouts in there. So the blue for me is lead gen time. We have our team meeting Monday morning, every Monday morning. And my lead gen time is there. Then I do my agent open houses. I have my appointments. And then I've got my door knocking, which it's booked right now for 4 days a week. It's weather dependent though. So I would love to, if I could, go out 4 hours a week every single week. For me, the reason I do it at this time is I just get more people at home, right? So I'd rather do 1 hour and get 8, 10, 12 people at home than do 3 hours in the morning and get probably about the same time. So that's why I do that. And the way I have the rest of my day structured is I have afternoon appointments, I come home and I make dinner, and then I go out and I door. And sometimes, most times, eat dinner with the family. So, Dave, you said color coding was throwing you off a little bit because it was not. What happened with your color coding?
No, it's just a matter of identifying within a particular color block. So, again, going back to still learning. I'd put something in the calendar, as an example, block off 4 hours where I'm going to be at the office, and then try and figure out what I'm going to do in those 4 hours, and put it in as a note so I've got an idea of what I want to accomplish, but it's still blocked in red for 4 hours at the office and everything.
Right.
As opposed to
Oh, I see.
hour
Okay.
1 is CRM, hour 2
Okay.
is lead gen, hour 3 is whatever, database, you know, whatever it is.
Right.
So it's just a 4 hour red block.
Right, which is your time at the office.
Right, which I now need to break down and utilize and prioritize. So that's where I'm starting to implement the paper planner, the daily planner where I can write down ideas of what I need to do within that time.
Yeah. So actually, let's get to daily. I'll open these up so they're a little bit bigger. So daily for me is key because you can only control your day. So these are really, really basic Excel spreadsheets. And, you know, again, I created them for me, and what works for me and what works for the rest of my organizing with the team. Let me just pull up a Monday, because that kind of starts our week. So my Monday sheet is the most involved, it's because it is when we talk about what's happening with the rest of our schedule with the team meeting. So we have over here, I've got for the team meeting, what happened with recent transactions, what have we sold, what do we have to do, what are the conditions, what's happening with our current clients, what listings are we working on, what buyers are we working on, and then what appointments we have. And I work on the Monday sheet starting from the previous Friday and over the weekend so that I can update the team at the team meeting and then figure out what it is that I want to achieve that week. So at the top is priority A, what do I want to achieve today? Priority B is what do I want to achieve this week? On Mondays, Nicoletta, our admin, writes down all of the birthdays for that week for us so that I can call them in the car and wish them happy birthday. The rest of the week, I'll show you, it's priority C, and that's what am I going to do on my Friday at bedtime? Or what can be done at some point. So if I get an idea, I can think about it when I'm stationary and I don't have to have it clog up my today. Because today is mostly, like, you've got to do what's important for you for today. So I have one of these for every day of the week. Fridays are a little bit more involved as well because they vary just to keep me really on track. Oh, I don't have the different versions on here. So first Friday. Actually, I do have these. Look at this. So I have what I have to do today. And then, because sometimes forget what day is what, previous month's payroll remittances, right? Like I have to put that on a sheet because 15 days in, if you don't pay the remittances, the CRA charges you. And it's ridiculous, and I hate paying for being late. So I have that. For accounting, I print the Visa bills for my admin and checks that have been cashed. And then I have some stuff for our investment property. So on my first Friday list, that's what I have. I have a last Friday of the month list, which is when I plan my 411. And, you know, a couple of Fridays in between, it's not very different. But everywhere, except for Mondays and Fridays,
I have the priority C, so end of week. What do I want to get done at the end of the week? And I just find when I have this on paper and in front of me, if I just make a note, so I'll make a note, I'm driving around or I'm sitting, I'm doing something, and I just make a note, at the end of the week, I know to look at all that stuff. So it doesn't clog up my week, it doesn't clog up my brain, and I can concentrate on what needs to be done. So, getting back to the prioritizing, we can really get stuck in this stuff because it's the fun stuff, it makes you feel productive, but it's most of that stuff is not what's going to be making you money. Let's support your business, it's important, but it's not urgent. Right? So doing this once a week instead of stopping what I'm doing throughout the week is critical for me. Now for you, that might be a little different, Dave. So you're working on the database. So for you, that might take, so you're working on the database, are you lead generating?
Yeah, I mean, the way I've always lead generated, which is, one touch at a time, one person, it's not a downhill slide, it's more of a even keeled kind of approach.
Okay, what does that mean?
I reach out to, I'm not great at asking for referrals, so I find instead of asking for referrals, I just go meet new people, whether it be open houses, whether it be a touch on Facebook, whether it be, just a text, hey, haven't heard from you in a while, how are things? So it's not like that, it's not, I'm not knocking on a dozen doors a day, or 15, 20, whatever it is, which is something that I've got to bring myself to do, but.
What about calling your sphere? And I mean, you've done business, you have past clients,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm horrible at asking for referrals. I'll stay in touch with them, and hey, how you doing? But once I find out how they're doing, I'm, okay, great, have a good day. I'm horrible at asking for referrals. So that's
So
one of the,
you need some scripts.
Yeah,
You
I
need
mean-
some scripts, because there's so much natural stuff or so much stuff that can come out naturally.
yeah,
Because usually they'll ask you, how's business?
Yeah.
Business is terrific. It's the beginning of the year. I'm really ramping up for the spring. Who can you think of that I should have a conversation with about real estate?
right.
That's really easy. That's a lot easier than, is anyone you know looking to move? Because usually the answer is no. Because if they thought of it, they would have called you, right? So I just find that who can you think of that I should have a conversation with? Because it's a lot less threatening. It's a lot easier to come off your tongue. And it also gets them thinking about somebody that might not be moving right now, but they might be in the future. So I really emphasize that. Who should I have a conversation with? Maybe they're not moving right now. Maybe they're just looking to do something down the road. Maybe this year, maybe next year. How about I have a conversation with them now? Who can you think of? Could you do that?
Yeah, no,
That's easy, right?
Oh.
Easier.
easier.
Easier. Write it down, practice it.
Okay.
Script practice. It's critical. Yeah.
I was going to talk about your schedule for script practice. So I think that I'm doing more of that. It's taking more of my time just to get comfortable with speaking with clients, potential clients. But the ask was the hard part, and what we've been doing is asking clients, are you comfortable recommending your friends to me, which is more like,
I like that. Yeah.
it's just a way of phrasing it instead of saying, who do you know? It's just like, hey, are you comfortable, introducing me to so-and-so?
I think that's great, except it still doesn't ask. Because typically, like, what are they going to say? No, I'm not comfortable.
Right. True.
Right?
True.
I
I haven't had that yet.
I think that's
Yeah.
a good segue.
Yeah.
Well, you're comfortable. Oh, awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Who do you know that I should talk to?
Roll into it. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I mean, we provide a great service. There's lots of really horrible realtors out there. You dealing with the people that your clients and family know is going to help those clients. We always think that it's begging for business, but it's not. You have to build your business, but you're also keeping those clients or those potential clients away from agents that will not get them the best price for their house or get them into a house that's not right for them. So you're protecting those clients. Diana Koska says, at a weak moment, they might call a weak agent, right? And you don't want that, do you? No. Right? So you want to focus on what you're giving. You're contributing to their lives by helping them make the best decisions. When you approach it from that perspective, it doesn't feel like you're poking them. It second sometimes. You don't want to bother them. You're not bothering them. You have a business to run, and you want to find people to help with that business. We do great work for people. We care about them. We take care of them. Right? Like, right? Just shift your mindset a little bit. Would that help?
You have to be genuine.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Did I sound
No,
disingenuous?
you were great.
Right, but I mean, you are, like, there's, you know, there's the people that aren't in this room that will often not do a great job for somebody, whereas everybody's here to learn how to improve their businesses and improve the quality of their lives for their own families and their clients, right? So if you do that, if that's your focus, then what's so bad about that? Makes sense. Still not used to this, sorry. Okay, there we go. So I will send Oresta copies of this, and then just adapt it. Like what I have isn't necessarily what's gonna work for you, right? If you don't have a team, or if you don't have an assistant, you're not gonna have an admin section. Mind you, you might wanna have an admin section anyway, right? Like what am I doing that's important for my business, and then what's an admin function, right, that can be done later, right? So you can split it up even if you don't have to have somebody else to talk to. That was it. That's the end. We got to the end. And look at that. Perfect timing.